You're live, apparently.
You're live, okay. We're live.
Can someone just say if they can see us or not?
Nothing here yet.
Looks like we can log it into old feed. Still waiting on my end. Can anybody see this live feed? Hey, it's up!
Oh,
Nice, here we go.
it happens almost every time. Funny, isn't it?
Awesome. All right. Okay, I think we're good to go. So,
Ah, thanks, Tony. Great.
nice. Do you want to do the brew pig intro?
Wow, it's been a really busy few months. It's
Yeah.
Oh, it's been so good. Where's Mitt? Oh, he's right here. It's really hot here. It's hot and muggy. We had a bit of a storm last night, and
Yeah.
God, it came down. It was really wet. So it looks like there's been a bit of flooding in the yard this morning. So everyone's really hot and stuffy and a bit slow. So working.
Heaps of
Awesome.
highs. If you've never commented before on any of our live feeds, let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to know where
Yeah.
people around the world are actually seeing the live feed from. It'd be pretty cool to get that feedback.
Yeah. So we decided to do the two different feeds, one this morning and one for the UK in the evening. It
Yeah.
seems to work so much better.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of gets the spread.
Scotland, how you going?
Ah, neat.
Pedro.
Hi.
Portland,
Hi.
nice.
Oh, neat.
Albuquerque,
Huh.
Florida. I'm going to have to learn how to say names real fast. St. Cloud, my USA. Idaho, Greedies, Cape Cod.
Oh,
I can't-
neat.
oh, this is awesome. I
Thank
can't
you,
keep up.
this
This is great. Wicked.
We're in Bundaberg.
That's awesome. That's so cool, guys. All right, so we wanted
Oh,
to...
there's someone from Australia.
Yeah, Mildura.
Yeah,
Aaron,
cool. Hi, Aaron.
Alaska. Oh, this is
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
New South Wales.
Wow. Monica. Hi, Monica.
Hey, Robbo.
Wow.
So, we wanted to give
Darwin.
you guys an update on who we are for those that are new to the channel and haven't seen Brewpig, in depth and that sort of thing. So,
Yeah, we've had an increase in people watching and
yeah,
becoming patrons and subscribing. It's been amazing. Just kind of a quick overview. Remember, we were about 5 years ago. There was a cyclone that came through the east coast of Australia, and the tail end hit where we are here. And Brewpig was getting taken out to sea in the storm, and went over on its side, and it stayed there for 2 months under the water.
yeah.
It got stripped out, and that's when we found her. Probably about a year and a half later, eh?
Yeah, so when we found Brewpig, it was just a complete steel shell. There was absolutely nothing inside. No insulation, no wall
Proper
linings,
shaft was all that was.
nothing at all, just steel and rust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wasn't in really bad condition, but there was a lot of holes and things there to fix up. So we found her, and our goal was to create something that we could share with a community of people around the world. And we
Yeah.
wanted to travel to pretty remote places and do projects that kind of inspired us and inspired a group of people. And so when we saw her, we've been looking for this sort of thing for a long time. There aren't many boats this strong, this big,
Yeah.
cheap enough that we could
Yeah.
afford.
Yeah.
And stripped out was what we wanted. So that's awesome.
Oh, this is so cool. I love seeing where everyone's from.
That's so cool.
Yeah. The names just keep popping
Yeah,
up on
it's
our
like
screen. It's awesome.
it's rolling.
Yeah,
So we didn't know how we would afford it. We didn't know how we'd do it. My health's always been a bit
Newcastle.
iffy. So
Yeah.
wow, cool.
Carry on, yeah.
So we took the chance and we thought, well, it's worth a shot. We brought it for scrap value. So if in the first year it failed, we could scrap it and get not get in too much debt. So.
Yeah.
But it's working. It's amazing. So it's all a risk, but well worth it.
And I suppose one of the things that we like to do with Brewpig is as just mentioned, share it with the community. So Brewpig is big enough to take a decent amount of people on board when we go to these sort of remote places of the world, but we also actually want to take our viewers with us. So like quite literally get you on the boat and take you to these places as well. So
that's the whole thing. We didn't want to do a commercial. If we wanted to do a commercial thing and it was all about the money and all about that, we would have done that,
Yeah, but it's
but
not
it's not
for
about
us.
that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about people doing it together and being a part of that. But
Yes, you can claim 2 berths for the Northwest Passage.
get it? Look, things are starting to rev up a bit. So
Yeah.
we've actually we've got a few announcements, including that we're starting looking for crew. So if you're serious about becoming crew for any part of our trips, if you see something on our website you like the look of, just get in touch with us and we'll start the process with you. If you we're looking at hopefully launching by the end of January to March. So 3 to 5 months. So if you want to volunteer where we are, come and get in touch
Yeah.
with us, because time is running out. So you let us know. Just get in touch with us, just talk to us, and we'll talk back,
Yeah.
and we'll get to know each other. And remember that if you want to come on any of the passages, you want to do any of the projects that we put up online, if you're a Patreon, your first dibs, absolutely. Patrons for us are, we just feel so heartfeltly loving of our patrons, because they're the ones that make this possible.
Yeah.
That's the crew community. So they'll get first dibs on anything. But if you're interested, still get in touch, because we'll go through a process with you.
So there was a question just before from Mini Builder. So do we have our 50-ton captain's license?
Bananas are fine.
Yeah. Do we have a 50-ton captain's license? No. In Australia, you don't need it for a private boat. So if you're commercial, you have to go through a number of different licenses to suit the type of boat you're driving. But if you're a private boat being driven privately, etc.
Oh, thanks, John.
I know you're a Patreon, Johnny. That's awesome.
I'm honoured, man.
Yeah, so as a private boat, we don't need particular skippers licenses and that sort of thing. We just have to have the boat registered with Queensland, where we are at the moment, and have a very basic half-day boat course that gives us a boat license to drive anything up to, I think it's 100 feet or something like that. So it's pretty easy to drive the boat here.
Yeah. So it's not about the money, and it's about getting people on board, and Patreon and all the support you guys who watch us provide, all the volunteers and all the sponsorship deals that we get, and all the sponsors, all the people that donate through PayPal because they don't particularly like Patreon. It's all of you guys that create this.
And the ability to share the project as well. Like there's so many guys out there that have knowledge, like whether it be
Anthony, cool.
Navy guys or engineers or whatever, and when we're building something, it's blooming awesome to be able to share it, because then their feedback gets piled into the boat and the boat gets better as a result.
So we're focusing very much on the video stuff. We're learning as we go, and we're determined that keeps on right through the whole process. So right from the build, the first 3 years of the build, right through the whole trip, we'll be holding out before we go to Antarctica, probably for 3 to 5 months, I think, to get everything done, because we're prepping the boat.
No.
I know. To go to Antarctica, we'll be doing some of the southern
Australia?
No, New Zealand. When we go to New Zealand, we're going down south in New Zealand, and there's the southern islands down there. We'll be able to do those without prepping, but once we go lower and we start heading towards Antarctica, we have to have the boat really well prepared. So we'll probably do that prep in New Zealand, I think.
Yes.
So, Grant. Great. Yeah.
So
just get in touch. It really helps get things moving.
Phantom XR, can you pee outside in Antarctica? Yes, once.
Well, we'll be in there in summer, so hopefully things won't freeze too fast. But yeah, we're talking to a lot of people who have been down there in different capacities, and it's not as scary as we thought and people make out. I think there's a lot of dramatizing in the media about that sort of trip. But we'll, of course, if we get stuck down there, that's a whole different thing.
That's not to say that we're just going to assume it's going to be easy. We're going to actually prepare the boat for it being unbelievably hard, and then hope that it's going to be easy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to finish off the story, about a year and a half in, I got really sick. I ended up with a diagnosis of a neurological disorder and some autoimmune conditions, and they're kind of serious. I'm deteriorating, and we decided to keep going. So part of the BrewPeg experience for us is keeping going, even when it feels impossible sometimes, But we're doing it, and it's working, and it's amazing. So, what's next?
So, one more question. Phantom XR. By the way, if you've got questions and you want to know anything about what we're doing on the boat, chuck it in the comments while we're doing this live feed, and we'll get to it. So we're cycling through as many questions as we can go. So definitely, if you've got something you want to know, let us know.
Just interrupt us.
Yeah. So Phantom XR, will you guys stop in at Scott Base? It really depends. We're either there's 3 bases that I think we'll try and get to first. So we're going to aim for either Scott Base or McMurdo Base, but they're buried quite far down in McMurdo Sound, which is often fairly packed full of ice. So we're not an icebreaker. We're a little tiny boat that might be able to push icebergs apart, but to the side, but definitely not break them. So if we can't get to the American or New Zealand bases in McMurdo Sounds, we're going to potentially try for an Italian base, which is much further out on the coast.
But there are legalities around going to Antarctica, and because we're Kiwis, we're bound by the New Zealand policies. So we'll find out, and we'll keep you updated as we get closer and closer to that. But not this season, of course. It'll be next season at the earliest. So because it's the summer over in the south. So
Yeah.
that's what November through to
November.
December.
November to January
February,
roughly is
yeah.
the time we can get down there.
And it depends on the season. Some seasons get really iced in. Some are open. It's just like Northwest Passage. Some are good. Some are bad. So I'm Kiwi Hayley.
Okay, three questions. Oh, that's bloody awesome. Thank you, Christine.
Oh, thank you.
That's really cool.
Oh.
So I want there's three questions that I want to jump on quickly. So are we going to have satellite internet on BrewPig? Yes.
Yeah.
How much bandwidth and how much we can upload, I don't really know.
But like that's in the future, right? When we're down
Yeah.
down south, I mean things can change quite rapidly technologically. So.
Okay, got a race. Sorry.
You
Peter
go.
Donaldson, did old meat get the door fixed? Not yet. We're working on a couple of surprises downstairs that I'll show you in a minute. That's what's holding up the door, but the door is on its way to being solved. We think we know how to fix it. We just haven't done it yet.
I think you guys have figured it out.
Yeah.
But aren't you waiting for Rod to get back and
To
put
design
it in
it?
CAD? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to double check it
Yeah.
in CAD before we cut anything.
Thabo Nell, how do we go about getting onto the boat one day? So for anybody that's interested in getting onto BrewPig, go onto our website, brewpig.com, and on there there's a tab at the top about how to visit, volunteer, or come and have a tour of BrewPig. So there's a few different options, whether you want to be, just have like a quick tour of BrewPig and actually see the boat, whether you want to volunteer for, a few days, a week, a month, or whether you even want to go down as far as becoming permanent crew on BrewPig. So there's lots of different information on the website, but if you're interested, go and have a quick look and see what sort of suits with what you want to do.
And we're interested in crew right now.
Yes.
So if anyone's interested in getting in and getting that position, just get in touch with us. It'll all be about the fit and everything and what works for everyone. But yeah, we're very interested. So it's getting closer. We're almost in the water. It's amazing.
What is the thing you want to see the most? I've been to the Southern Ocean before, and the thing that I miss the most, Joey,
thanks,
that's
Joey.
awesome. The thing that I miss the most is how unbelievably clear the water is. So it's quite like, it's not like tropical water where it's quite sort of light and bright. It's dark water, but you can see like 100 feet down without any effort. Like it's amazingly clear down there because it's so pristine comparatively, to the rest of the world and everything. So that's one of the things that I really want to see. Is there anything that you particularly want to see down
The
there?
fjords in New Zealand, in the southern New Zealand, Marlborough Sound, that's at the top of the South Island in New Zealand. Antarctica, the most thing I want to see.
Yeah.
Middle of an ocean.
Phantom XR, have you been told? I've lost
Need
it.
to mermaid in those waters. Yeah.
Have you been told you sound like Mark Ellis? I'm going to assume that's for me.
Okay. Maybe.
Jess's
How
glasses.
deep is my voice?
Jess's glasses are amazeballs.
I can't see the questions if I don't wear them.
Will you be travelling with other ships in convoy to Antarctica?
Yeah, when possible, if possible. Yeah, definitely. That makes so much sense and it'd be a lot of fun. Although we'd be much slower than pretty much anyone else going down that way, I'd say.
Trips, Walter, will you have only one source of heating or redundancies, like electric boiler, very cold where you're headed? We're going to have 5 layers of redundancy on heating because that's such
Oh, Brendan, thank you.
that's really cool. Thanks, Brendan. Cheers, buddy.
Amazing.
So, heating, we've got 5 layers of redundancy because it's such a critical thing. If we get cold, we potentially die. So, we're not taking any chances there. And it's backup on backup. So, that's when we do that stuff in New Zealand in about a year's time, we'll go into a lot more detail. But yeah, basically, we're going to have backups for a lot of stuff on this boat.
It's a best. Dying is bad.
Sorry, we're just catching up on some things.
Anyway, we should update everyone about what's been happening. There's been so much.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So, Dennis was here for a little while and helped Dame sort out the generators. Both generators started, which was what we were aiming for, is just to find out whether they're worth keeping or not, which was great. They got the exhaust in for that. You would have seen that probably in the last episode. What you wouldn't have seen is that Dame and lots of people have been helping us. Oh my God!
Grant, you're friggin' awesome. Oh, this is awesome.
The guys have been doing the dinghy. I don't know if you've been keeping a track of what we've been doing, but we've been working on the alloy dinghy, recycling an old inflatable dinghy and making it electric. And the guys are almost finished the structure, so and it looks amazing. So Dane's going to take you down just before we finish and show you that.
It's our test dinghy, so we have 2 that we have to build, and it's obviously the first one is a little wee one, and it's basically a test to figure out, can we actually build these things, because we had no idea before we started. the answer is yes, and we've learned a huge amount from this one. So it's going to be broken up over a few episodes because it's so detailed.
The next 3 episodes, actually,
The amount of stuff that we had to understand, figure out, learn, all that sort of stuff to build it.
Hopefully today, Madison, the
yes.
foam will go in today, because we're putting some buoyancy inside the tubing. But you'll see all of that in the episodes coming up. But it was great fun. It's been really neat doing that.
Yeah.
And thanks to Benny Luckraft, who
Yes.
got in touch earlier in the week. We've been looking for a jet dinghy. A jet
Sorry,
ski.
can I just interrupt? So give you guys some context. Benny is a viewer of ours, and he's ex-Navy. I think he's Australian Navy, and he just randomly started contacting us and basically saying, "Hey, I've got this gear for you, or I found this thing, or whatever it might be."
He's
It
amazing.
started with the solar panels. He went and bought the 2 panels that we need to replace the gap that we have up on the roof. Some of you may be aware of. Benny went and found these panels, tracked them down, figured out the right voltage, bought them, and then we organised with some other viewers.
Wayne and Tina Nash brought them up when they were coming through on a trip.
So it was a real combined effort to get them up. But in the background, Benny's been sending us stuff. He figured out like a sea anchor for us. He's just keeps tracking down stuff that might be useful for Brewpeg. And about 3 days ago, he found a jet ski for us.
And they're really hard to come by. We don't need one that's able to be ridden. We just needed the jet engine and the steering and that. So we've been looking for ages, and of course they're really expensive. The sort of horsepower we need. So it's been really hard, and he found it. So we scrambled together, and Roderick and Dane went down and picked it up.
Yeah.
On Thursday night.
So Thursday night we went down, and we finally now have our jet ski for the jet engine dinghy.
And we had a random storm come through, really big storm cells coming across. So I was monitoring them on the radar to see if they're going to get smashed by it. And luckily it dissipated, but that was quite fun. But so thanks everyone for all your effort. It's amazing. And thanks Wayne and Tina. They've just sent that we were talking about a label maker to make things easier on the boat, and they sent one through us.
Yeah.
This is amazing. It just arrived in the mail this week. Thanks guys.
Yeah. Lee Shehad, where are you guys now? So right now we are in Bundaberg, Queensland, Australia. There was a question from Trips Walters just before, when we make it to the States, East Coast or West Coast or possibly both. I actually really don't know. So the very preliminary initial plan is Australia, New Zealand, Antarctica, skirt around Antarctica and head up to Chile, do Patagonia for a bit. As to which side we go up South America, I honestly don't know. We haven't planned beyond there. So everything's kind of up for grabs really at this stage.
But all that's certain is, first of all, the Great Barrier Reef up here. We'd love to spend a couple of weeks in there. We're hoping to get some divers going under, get some footage under the water. We also just want to do the whole sort of experience of going into that area and jumping out and running around a lagoon and just, it'd be amazing. So we'll do that first, and then we're heading down the east coast of Australia, and then the plan is to cross to New Zealand and do the southern area of New Zealand. It's sort of one of our favourite places in the world.
It's a pretty remarkable place, and it's quite difficult to get there. Like, not a lot of yachts and cruisers go there because it's pretty remote, and it's a long distance between ports that yachts and things can get into. There's a lot of bars and stuff like that. It's not real hospitable land. But it's an amazing bunch of scenery down there. So yeah, definitely something that we want to show you guys, because Brewpeg is pretty much built for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and saying that, if someone comes up with another idea and we're heading somewhere, things can change. So because it's about everyone putting in ideas and being on board, and it's about everyone. So.
Julia.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, cool. All right. Sorry,
Hi,
guys.
Chris.
Got that part. Oh, Chris Henderson.
Oh, awesome. I want to. Can you lift this? I want to lift it.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry, Chris. Yeah, that's awesome. No worries, man.
We want to show you guys this. We got this in the mail.
Jess got a new hammer. So this came from Jeff. Oh, crap.
Jeff Gray.
Jeff Gray. That's right.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've always wanted one of these. So gorgeous.
Oh, Line Red Pub Bluff. Yeah. Bluff is probably the place we're going to come into when we go to New Zealand.
Maybe,
so,
yeah.
All right, so what's happened over the last couple of months on Brewpeg?
So, depending on where you've sort of been watching from, we got a new welder, and Dane learned how to weld over a few episodes.
Yeah.
There are a few little struggling early bits, but we got that done. Rod's been here helping Malcolm. The big boat that got launched, you might have seen in our episode, that's Malcolm's boat, and Roderick is Malcolm's son, and Roderick's a Patreon of ours, and he's from my hometown, and he came in, he helped with the dinghy, and he's been helping with the door, and we've been going over there, and we helped with the launch, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yes, the Trimarine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so Rod does a lot of our CAD designing and sort of computer designing.
He's a designer,
for our parts.
amazing designer.
He actually designed our pantograph hinges behind us, so all of that mechanism and how it works and so it doesn't bind up, that's Rod that did all of that. And he's helping us with some stuff on the boat as well, like the little dinghies, sort of mocking up parts and things to make sure it actually works before we go and chop aluminium up and go and build something.
I've just realised we need to circle back to Benny.
Oh, yes.
And the jet ski.
Oh,
we
yes.
got the jet ski.
I see that.
Oh, you did?
We're covered.
And we'll give you a little glimpse of it.
Yeah.
But it's really exciting. So we'll take the casing off and strip it down. But apparently it can be driven right now.
It's fully functional right now. Like you can chuck it in the water and go for it, you know.
Yeah, Dan, that'd be awesome. Yeah. So Dame's going to put on just a little video of it starting up onto the Patreon feed, so you guys will see what it looks like.
Yeah. So all of our patrons
what
are
it
gonna.
sounds like. It sounds pretty cool, actually.
So your new 24-inch didn't come in metric. You're gonna love this.
Yeah.
This side's metric. This side is imperial. So obviously you only use this side.
It's so light. It's so great. We've finally got a backup computer. We found a really good deal.
Yeah.
And thanks to Patrons, we've got a backup computer. Which is coming this week, which is amazing. And Gillian and Madison have been helping Dame sort out a NAS for the boat. So we're in the process of organising a sponsor for that. And of course Gillian sent over his hard drives as backup because we're running out of storage because we do so much filming. And that's an issue because there's so much we're building every week. There's a lot of footage every week. So we just run out.
For example, on the little dinghy build, we've got nearly a terabyte of footage. And we haven't even put an episode out on that yet, so it gives you an idea of just how much footage gets created when we're building these things and filming them.
And this will probably be a bit weird because we're actually 3 weeks behind on our episodes today. So we're going to be putting out, I'm almost at the end of doing the first dinghy episode, and there'll be 2 more after that. So it'll feel a bit strange. There's a lot of update that won't be on the first video, so...
There's
You're smiling.
just a couple of really funny comments. So Peter Donaldson asked, how heavy do you think the dinghy will be? It's about 25 to 30 kg right now. Oh, Jeff.
Oh,
That's bloody awesome.
Oh,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Jeff.
Thank you to everybody who
Yeah.
supports our channel.
Oh my God.
However you do it. Thank you.
It's so
Thank
amazing.
You. Yeah. Pete Donaldson, how much do you think the dinghy will weigh? About 25 to 30 kg is the small dinghy right now. The big dinghy is probably going to be about maybe 50 to 60 kg. So we're not talking heavy dinghies, but we're talking real capable dinghies. The little dinghy is 100% alloy, and it's made out of 2mm alloy. So the bottom, the tubes, everything. So I'll show you that shortly.
Dame's putting the batteries in a sealed box in the tubes, so there's nothing on the floor of the dinghy. It's very cool.
Yeah. You never see metric Star Destroyers, only Imperial Star Destroyers. I love that. Yes, I was very happy with the hard drives there, DC Allen. Trips Walters, brew peg running on veg oil. Is there an additive to prevent freezing or a warmer to keep the velocity consistent? Yes. So actually I'll show that when I go down the bottom soon. It's basically a coil of stainless that we pump engine coolant through, and that coil is located in the fuel tank. So where the pickup is, it warms it up essentially. So it brings it up to roughly the temperature of the engine's coolant, and that keeps it, you know, quite consistent and viscous and all that sort of stuff. When are we starting an ROV build? Mate, I've got 3 boats to build. We will get there.
Don't give me any more ideas.
Where are we? Tim Pierce, are you going to start?
That's a good point. Gas build up in the sealed compartment.
No, they're fully sealed AGM batteries. So we bought the batteries so that we didn't have to factor that in, because I also want them to be able to sit upside down without draining anything out and all that sort of stuff.
Peter Donaldson's just brought up an interesting point. Will you need something to lift the dinghies onto the thing?
Yes.
And that's something we wanted to let everyone know. The engineering doesn't stop when we're in the water. So just because we'll be launching, the first thing that we're building is a crane once we're in the water to lift the dinghies, and then we'll do the jet dinghy probably in the water if we don't have time. It depends on how all the other work goes. but we may end up doing that once we're in the water. So I mean that'll get built. The jet engine will get put in the dinghy once the dinghy's built on the back of the boat probably. There's heaps. There's just a lot that will go on with constantly. So and of course each project will have its requirements. We might need to add something or cut something off, or change the saloon into a workroom or whatever, and we'll do that as we go along.
Greg K, hello from Florida. Hello. Does the veggie oil stink? It smells just like olive oil. So, and when you burn it, it pretty much smells like olive oil.
Whatever was cooked in it.
Yeah, like if it came from a Chinese shop, it'll smell like Chinese food. If it came from a fish and chip shop, it'll smell like chips. It just depends entirely on what's in the oil. But to start with, it just smells like olive oil. So yeah, nothing really dramatic there.
And we've been talking to Andrew. I forgot, it's Andrew, isn't it? Tinnick, yeah. And he's run diesels on veggie oil before, and he's been talking to us, and we're just kind of gathering confidence as we go along that this really could work, which is very exciting.
Sorry, Joey, I've just got to jump into questions because there's a lot piling up.
That's fine.
Joey Toman, I think it is, or Torman. Are you going to water pressure form the aluminium hull? No, we're doing it with brute force. Yeah, we didn't have fancy tools like actual tools. We were just manhandling it. Have you thought about burning coconut oil? Yes, if we can get it. Coconut oil is actually the best oil to get.
Yeah, we might, if we're in the Pacific, we might end up doing that.
We can run on pretty much any veggie oil. So if we're in the Pacific and it's easy to get coconut oil, that's what we'll use. If we're not, we'll get something else. Shane Andrew, did you get the injection pump on the Kubota sorted? Not yet, but we're pretty much. You and I were talking about it, and we're up to wherever we left off. I've had to be flat out.
It's been hijacked for the dinghy.
Yeah, so. I've been flat out for the last 3 weeks on a dinghy, so once that's done, I'll be able to jump back onto the Kubota. Building 3 boats, what do you do with all your free time? What distance will you be able to go on fully fueled tanks? So when Brewpeg is chock-a-block with all of the tanks that we need to put into her, we've got to build a couple of extra tanks. She'll have 8,500 nautical miles of range. Which is a lot of directional range, but we're not actually using it for that. We're using it for time. So when we go down to Antarctica, we're building it so that we can, if we absolutely stuff up, we can go down there, get frozen into the ice, and last 9 months with heating and cooking and everything that we need to survive down there, and then still have enough fuel to basically take ourselves back out to wherever the nearest land is. So that's why we're putting so much fuel in, not necessarily because of the distance, mainly so that we have longevity. Build a little yellow submarine. Julian's bursting to tell us something.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tell us now.
We're really crane, something like Stu's. John Tisdall. We've got a crane that's very similar to Stu's on our bow. That's for our anchors, because our anchors are 110 kgs each, so we can't physically lift them. So we have a crane up on the bow that we fitted in there to move those around, but the one that we're building on the back of the boat for the dinghies, for the small dinghy, there's going to be a crane on the back of the boat, and for the large dinghy, there's going to be one on the roof. The big dinghy goes up on the roof.
Cheers, thanks, Gary.
Was he? Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Poor Popeye. Could you use an old Hiab crane, steal the hydraulic tank from it too? Yes, you can, absolutely. So that's the Lewis Dobson. Yes, you can use an old Hiab crane and steal the hydraulic tank from it and all that sort of stuff. We do have the ability to run hydraulics on Brewpeg. We've got a few hydraulic things on here now. But we're trying to stay away from that because hydraulics are pretty expensive. We may end up going that route. But yeah, we're probably even just going to stay with manual just for now, just to get the boat in the water and up and running, and then we can upgrade later on. Mini builder Gladius 4K ROV. This little guy made me really want to build an ROV. Yeah, that looked pretty cool what Stu was using. That's the one Stu had. Hammers, welders and persistence. Yep, that's how we build this thing. Keeps moving. Do you want to touch base on what else we've done around the boat, and I'll track down the...
So steering's all done. You've probably seen that in an episode. So that's really cool. There were a few leaks with the hydraulic piping, but that got sorted. Rudder, thanks to Craig's help. Craig sort of arrived and looked at what we were doing, and he's really experienced on both. He had a good giggle and then gave us a hand. Thanks very much.
Catherine Davis, can he kindly remove his shirt so we can see his furry chest?
This means him.
Really? Really?
No. Family show.
I don't recall if you said before, can you process veg oil while you're away? Yes, we can process... who was that? Where are we? M. Coleman. Can we process fuel on board? Yes, we can process veg oil on board Brewpeg. So we'll be able to dry fuel, whether it's oil or diesel, and we'll be able to filter it down to 1 micron on Brewpeg as we steam. So we'll have a full processing system on board and in the engine bay, and that'll be documented in a episode when we build that as well. Veg oil is a good lubricant. Are you going to sacrifice some to stop Dame's helmet from squeaking? Bill Baggins.
Didn't you, he fixed that? Oh my God, it was driving me nuts. He just wouldn't fix it. No, it's done.
And then like
It's
3
started
minutes
again.
later, it started again. Yeah. Does the veg oil need to be kept at a certain temp when in colder climates? You can pretty much freeze. So where's that come from? John Foster. You can pretty much freeze your veg oil if you really wanted to, and then unfreeze it and use it. When you use it, it has to be above 76 degrees Celsius. So long as it's liquid, so anything above say 10 degrees Celsius, it's liquid, and below that it's a bit sort of gel-like.
But aren't you putting coils in the?
And then
the
we're putting coils in the tanks to heat them, but it's pretty it's got to be above 76 degrees to use it, but below that it just has to be liquid to pump it. Stu is hot as fuck. Talked to a farmer running a tractor on oil from a local fish shop. He reconnected. He put on 3 kgs in planting season because the smell made him hungry all the time. Yeah, it's awesome. Hydraulic is nice, but you got to have a pretty extensive collection of extra bits and bobs. Yeah. Would medical help be available if anyone was ill or got sick in the ice?
Well, if I'm on board, we have to have a medical person on the crew. So we'll be advertising for someone to come on board, whether it's a doctor or a nurse. So there'll be someone who can handle the basics.
Are you planning on heating the interior in sub-zero temps? What insulation are you going to be using? Yes,
What, to
all of
minus
that.
20 or?
So the boat will be built to handle so 20 degrees positive inside, and we can handle a maximum of minus 60 on the outside. And we're doing that with polystyrene and aluminium foil. So we've done the maths and the calculations to actually figure out what is the most effective way of insulating this boat. And pretty much everything came back to using polystyrene, because we can put more insulation in for the amount of cost that it costs to do panels of polystyrene. There's definitely higher performing insulations out there, but because they're so expensive, you can't afford to put much of them in. So polystyrene just hands down is what we're going with. In terms of heating, we've got 5 layers of redundancy. So we use heat from the main engine, the generator, we've got diesel boilers, we've got diesel air heaters, and then finally if absolutely everything else fails, we've got electric, but that's not really a great backup because obviously electric needs electricity to do it. So we're sort of going with burners and sort of diesel and or oil boilers as our main line of defence if the engines stop.
And remember that we don't use the veg oil when we're like really down south in the south, because it's just too cold. It's just too hard to keep it working. So we use it's sulfur. It's got extra sulfur in it. The diesel, hasn't it?
Yeah. So diesel has sulfur in it to add a little bit of lubrication, and
low temperatures.
Yeah, so all diesel has it, but normally it's a low sulfur diesel. When you go to Antarctica, it's a high sulfur diesel because you need more basically ability to stop the diesel from gelling and waxing at really low temperatures. So yeah, it's a very specific grade of diesel that you take when you go down to say either real northern Canada or southern Antarctica sort of areas.
And Digma's just said, solar, you won't be able to use solar. No, we won't be.
Wind.
No, we'll have that in storage. We'll actually take it off the roof altogether.
Can you start the engine on veg oil in the cold? No.
Here's Roderick.
Hey, how you going?
Hello.
You can only start a veg oil diesel on diesel and then run it over onto veg oil once the engine's up to temperature. How will we plan for emergency stores, mechanical, medical, and food? Do you want to answer that one?
Sorry, say it again. I'm just looking at a terrible one here.
How will you plan for emergency stores, mechanical, medical, and food? From Bruce Watson.
Yeah, come on in if you like. Yeah, Malcolm and Roderick have just arrived. We're just in the last part of our live feed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you? So in terms of stores on board the boat, we're going to basically load up the boat with as much gear as we can carry. So we'll have a full engine rebuild kit on. We'll have spare filters and things along those lines. Food, we'll probably try and stack as much dry food on the boat as we can. So if we have to,
it's not going to be a lot of variety.
Yeah, it'll be survival gruel. And medical will be basically packing out our medical kit as much as we can before we head down there. Do we have amateur radio license yet? No. Just don't have the time, sorry.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Band-Aids, Manuka honey, medical sorted. Do we have infrared? Do you have an infrared camera to see any installation issues yet? We don't have installation, so
That's happening
the
around the
camera will
water
pick
mainly.
up a fair few issues at the moment. In the winter in the northwest, you had constant darkness, right? So will electric from solar be viable at all? No. So solar's useless when you get down to Antarctica and right up north. The sun's at too low an angle, so we'll be relying on generators and wind turbines to give us basically backup power down there. How many crew will the boat hold comfortably?
Well, it depends on the trip. That defines that completely. But the permanent crew is up to 5, but 4 generally on board it most of the time. And then we can have up to 12 if we're just going for a weekend or something like that. Probably more.
Yeah.
You know, if people don't mind crashing on the sofa.
So, what are our goals coming up to launch, and what's coming up?
Yeah, so we've got heaps coming up. Dame's finishing the electric dinghy, and he'll get onto the generator and finish that. We've got Tim, who's built the kitchen. That's almost ready to go. I think he's just doing some finishing. So we've got to strip out the galley and the front accommodation, and we've got to do some blasting on the walls there, which there's a bit of rust that's come through over the last couple of years. And we've got to repaint. And then we're going to insulate, and then Tim will come up and work with Dame and put the kitchen in. So that'll be amazing. We'll have an actual working kitchen and some storage will be great. And then we're getting onto things like the front crash bulkhead. There's a couple of holes that showed up that have come through rust holes. So Dame's got to open that up and get in there and fix those. You might even have to replace a panel. We've got to finish the keel, so we've got to close that up and get some oil in the keel. We've got the stabilizers to build. That's a big job, and that'll be really interesting. There'll be aerodynamic wings for the stabilizers. That's the things that hold the boat in the water.
It's probably a month's worth of building of all the
it's
stuff
quite a
for
lot.
those.
Yeah, we've got to find and put in a holding tank, and then we've got to do sort out the veggie oil as well, and of course all the other little bits and pieces. So heaps to go on with. Check out the website because we've got a sort of scrolling list of jobs that are coming up. But if you are interested in volunteering, get in touch because it's up to 5 months and we won't be here. So
as we mentioned, if you've only just joined the live feed, as we mentioned earlier, if you want to get on board Brewpig physically, whether it's just for like a quick tour, if you want to come and volunteer for a few days, anything up to a month sort of thing, absolutely you can do that as well. And also we're looking for permanent crew to come on board Brewpig and stay for sort of 3 to 12 months. All of these options are on our website, so check out brewpig.com and you can have a look at, there's a tab at the top for visiting and volunteering, and you can jump on there and have a look at all the information. But if you want to get on board Brewpig, you can.
Thanks to everyone.
Thanks. Sandpaper Fund.
Thanks to everyone who's come and volunteer and helped and supported and sent tools or you know, all of it. You know, it's so amazing. And thanks so much to all our patrons. You keep us going, man. It's just amazing.
Should we go down and have a quick look?
So we've got another live feed tonight if you want to jump on, and if we didn't get to your question, just come on tonight. Depending on your time zone, of course. Dave's going to take you down now and show you the progress on the dinghy. Don't show too much, don't give too much away. And the next few episodes will be on the build, which is really good fun. So thanks for joining us, guys, and
we'll show you the fun bits downstairs now. All right,
cool, see ya.
Let's go for a walk. I'll just spin the camera around. All right, so down the bottom here, so that's our main jet dinghy over the back there. So this one here is what we were planning on building, and that's the big dinghy. This one is the one that we have been building. So you can sort of see we've got the tubes on, we've trimmed the back end up, the batteries are going in this slot here, so there'll be one battery here, one battery over there, and you can sort of see all the way around. We managed to get the tubes sort of done, so it's all tacked together. It's nothing's fully welded yet, but that's basically our first go at a dinghy. We're pretty happy with that, and it's essentially a copy of what was originally there. So the tubes are the same diameter as the original rubber tubes, so everything seems to be pretty sturdy so far. You can sort of see, where are we? Actually, I can show you the tube construction over here. So if you have a look down here, you can see we've actually overlapped on the bottom. So between there and there is an overlap on the tube. And the 2mm aluminium tubes, it's just a flat plate that's rolled into a circle. and then fitted into the boat, and then we sort of had to manhandle it to figure out a lot of the joins and that sort of thing. Let me take you down the back end and show you what we... Fiberglass and welding, no, it's 100% aluminium, so there's no fiberglass on any of these boats. Right, now down the back, this is our bag of mystery. So I'm not going to show you too much. There's going to be a lot of information coming out on Patreon, so those guys get it first, and then it'll be coming out to YouTube in the next probably month and a half in total. That's with all of the details on what the motor is, what we're doing with it. But that is going to power our main aluminium exploration dinghy. One of the things I'll show you on this, so you can see the round tubes on the little one. It took an enormous amount to figure out how to make those work. And we're probably going to change the design slightly for this one here. So instead of doing round tubes, we might even be doing pressed two-piece rectangle tubes. So it sounds a bit odd, but it's a heck of a lot easier to build, and we've only really figured that out once we've actually gone through the process of building a round tube dinghy. It does look like a jet ski, doesn't it? What a coincidence. All right, so I'll just pop back up. Back in here. So.
Yes, it does look like a jet ski.
I couldn't see any of the questions while I was out there, by the way, so I haven't answered a thing of them.
Yeah.
All right, so we should probably wrap up. I'd say.
I think so. Yeah. But
more internal room with square tubes. Yes, absolutely. Jet ski with a Tesla motor. That would be pretty awesome. So I'll just have what we'll do, we'll wrap the live feed up, and then I'll go through and we'll stay on the computer for a bit more, answer any of the questions that we didn't get to. Yeah, we will try and answer all of the questions that you guys sent through.
Hi, Bruce.
But as we sort of said earlier, if you want to find out more about BrewPeg, jump on the website. There's a list of the work that we've got coming up. There's a list of how to get onto BrewPeg and some information around that. And then also a bit more about where we want to go with BrewPeg and what we want to do with it.
Thanks for joining us, guys. And if any of you join us tonight, we'll see you there.
Thanks very much, everyone.
See ya.
See ya. Bye.